Hey guys, welcome back. I hope that last week's video is helpful to you, the prerequisites to backing a horse. So today I want to introduce you to beginning to teach your horse how to back up. Okay? Now again, this is new to this horse. She's done a little bit of backing, but not much, especially the third way I'm going to show you guys how to back a horse. This is going to be totally brand new to her. So last week we talked about different ways to get the head down. That's going to be important for a backup because it's going to help the horse to begin to stretch its top line, especially, hey special lady. I love that she's confident enough to check in with me. Again, this is Jade. If you guys missed last week's video, if you want more information on her, you can go back to last week's video. But anyways, encouraging the head to come down in lots of different ways is going to help the horse to elevate its top line and pull with its back feet as opposed to pushing with its front feet. Okay, if you think of the horse's spine as a chain, if they're pushing with their front feet, that chain gets all bound up. And it can cause their head to go up, and it can cause them to go backwards crooked and not straight. But if you pull the chain backwards, if the horse pulls its spine backwards with its back feet, the chain is straight. Okay, so you can't push a chain backwards, but you can pull it. So the idea is for her to lift her top line up and for her to pull with her back feet. Okay, and that's going to help her stop when we eventually get to riding this horse. So she stops on her haunches and doesn't slam on her front end. Okay, which is good for the health of the horse. And it's smoother for the rider as well. So what we're going to do, first, see if my head down is working. Great. The first method is, can I back her up off of the halter? Okay, now there's some important key pieces to this. What I don't like to do is grab a hold and pull, and if the horse doesn't respond, I don't pull harder. Okay, so I'm guiding this halter knot just enough to change the shape of this nose band. Okay, and this nose band goes all the way around her nose. Just changing the shape. If she's not following that feel, okay, first, taking a look at her expression, she's kind of asleep. So I'm going to see if we can wake her up a little bit, tickle her tongue, tip her nose back and forth. There she is. Okay, I'm going to change the shape of the nose band. And then I'm going to use some herding pressure, some pushing pressure on her chest to see if she can get it to take a step back. If you've done your homework with the head down, if they get locked up, you can rock their head back and forth to break their pull loose. You're going to have a much easier chance of them associating, tuck their nose and pull backwards than if you were just to take a hold and start pushing. Okay? And that was very nice. So I'm going to start again. Change the shape of her nose band. And I really want to guide this knot right here. Krista, can you get this knot? I know you have a goofy camera set up there. This knot I'm guiding kind of right to the crease of their chest, right down there. Okay, so I'm going to guide it down there. Hold. Okay, she's adjusting her nose. But now I want to guide the feet backwards. Okay, if you want to take that to the next level, what you can do is guide this knot towards the knee of the front foot that's out front. Can you pick up your front left foot? And if not, I'm going to help you by pushing you backwards. Good. It's important that you guys don't take your horse when they're not going and shove them backwards like that, because you will teach your horse to brace against you. They're not going to figure out how to lightly respond to the weight of this, to the weight of the knot and the shape of the nose band if you're pulling on them all the time. Okay. So we're going to take all that work you did last week. You might have to redo it a little bit if you get too abrupt with your hands. Guide it down towards this knee. Good. She's a little stuck. So here what I can do is tip her nose back and forth or go back to last week's assignment where I lift the chest up. Did you see that? Lift the chest up. Good. Now I can guide her backwards. Pick up this foot. And if it's not going, I'll give it a push. Good girl. But I'm not going to push her back harder. Okay, let's try this on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna have to get settled in on this side. I know we switched sides, but again, she still has a bit of a wild bone in her. Okay, she's still a little uncertain. I'm gonna try the same thing. Nose down. You can see, what I wanna point out, guys, you can see how she carries her anxiety internally. Look how she's all froze up here. See how she's in an awkward stance? She's kind of like, well, I took that one step, but I'm finding comfort and safety right here. She's a little hesitant to let down. So I'm just taking that into consideration when I'm working with her. I may even step her forward a little bit and say, let's loosen up a little bit here. Good girl. Okay. So all these things are important to be aware of. Good, that was a nice backup. So again, going through the steps here. Take the knot, guide it towards the horse's knee or towards that crease in the chest, and then push if you need help. Push. There, good. Last week we talked about rubbing the area before applying pressure, okay? So when I'm gonna take this knot, guide it towards her chest, rub and push. Good. Very good. We'll step her back forward. If we're not careful about that, first thing you know, you're going to stick your training aid underneath and they're going to start doing that, okay? We talked about intention versus energy, okay? Me just putting this stick down here, that's energy. But my intention is not to back up. I might just want to pet her. So it's really important that we take that into consideration, especially in these beginning stages of development. So nose down, good. That feels different than I'm asking your body to back up. Okay, there she's leaning on my hand, so I'm going to say, can you lift your barrel up? There, and she tucked her nose a little bit. Okay. Asking her to back up, rub, and push. Okay. I'm noticing she's turning towards that horse over there. Okay, just something else to keep in mind. There, I'm going to see if I can guide her. That was better. Back towards the center of the barn. Good. So that's method number 1. Step on up here. Method number 2, I'm going to come back over to this side. Without touching her, can I push her backwards? Okay, so we're going to use a boundaries concept. So it's going to, I'm going to pretend like there's a wall up in front of her face, and it's coming in, and it's coming in, and it's getting closer. Okay, and then as soon as she steps back, that wall is going to stop at this stage of development. Okay, so if you can picture that, I'd tell folks it's like a hydraulic wall with a big hydraulic arm pushing it. It's just coming at a slow, steady pace. Just like that. So it's a boundary, and it's moving in. So we're going to start out here. Notice too, I'm rubbing her with this first before I get to work. And I'm not being careful either. I'm being very deliberate. I'm saying, I'm going to reach out and touch you with this. I intend to reach out and touch you. Okay, that's just energy. Now I'm going to add intention to the energy. Thanks for checking in. Pay attention though. There's intention to the energy. Okay, it's very important you guys teach your horses the difference. Now I'm adding the energy again. I can come up in front of her face without intention. Good girl. Okay, let's try that on the other side. Method number 2, using boundaries to push your horse backwards. Okay, here we go. Test head down with the driving that I showed you guys last week. Very good, much better. Okay, can I use the pushing of the boundary to step her backwards? When the weight starts shifting in this phase, in this stage of development, back off, okay? She started shifting her weight, I started backing off, she took a step, that was great. Now we need to test energy versus intention, okay? That's great. Now intention, here it comes. You know, if she's in the way here, I'm not gonna smack her on the nose, but that wall is gonna keep moving in, and if she's still there, she's gonna feel it on her chest. Okay. The thing about boundaries is they don't give, right? So if you were to tell me to run through this wall, I couldn't do it. I could try, and it was up to me how hard I wanted to try. I don't want to try. So using that boundaries concept, or thinking about it from a prey animal perspective, horses in a herd will own their space, or they'll own another horse's space. So what I can say here is, hey horse, I'm going to own this space. The pressure's coming in because I want that piece of grass down there. Okay? You guys have seen your horses do this out in the herd. One horse will be grazing happily in this little spot, and the alpha's going to want that spot, and she's going to come up from a good distance off and pin her ears, then maybe charge in, okay, and own that space. Or if the one grazing is the dominant one, they might just hold their ground, pin their ears back, or turn their tail and offer a kick. Okay, that's owning their space. So I'm going to be the alpha here, and I'm going to own this horse's space. Here comes the boundary. Here it comes. And look, once I own that space, I don't have to keep chasing the horse. She's not there anymore. Okay, that makes sense to her. Good girl. Okay, that's method number 2. Good, very good. I'm going to step her back this way. Method number 3. This one can get a bad rap because it's often done poorly. I would not try this third method until you have everything from last week and this week, from these previous two ways of backing your horse up, working very well. Okay? At some point, we need to build distance between ourselves and our horse, especially in the training process. And it'd be nice if we could back our horse up, feed him some rope, and have him build some distance. Now notice her head's starting to go up, and that's where this gets a bad rap, because people will shake the ropes at their horse and pop their heads up, and then they get their horse all tight backed, okay? But if you can teach the other pieces to this in a sequential order, and then do this last, you should be able to feed some rope out to your horse, have them tuck their nose, and take a step back. Now, if your other pieces are working, if her head goes up, you might be able to lift and drive her head down while she's going backwards. Okay, so let's try that again. Can I feed some rope out and have that mean, yeah, drop your nose. So if the backup's not quite there yet, you can say, can I teach you to drop your nose by throwing this rope out? There you go. So these little releases are going to mean something to her. Can I toss you some rope and have that mean put your head down? There, no, wrong way. If it's going up, I'm going to keep it going till she goes like that. Good. Now those two, I'm not going back and forth and creating a bunch of energy underneath her face, right? I'm just simply feeding some rope out to her. Yep. Yes, very good. There's one good step. Okay. And a little side note, if you guys are practicing your homework from last week, or if you've practiced, see if you can do it at a distance. See if you can stand way back and do this driving pressure from a distance and cause them to put their head down. This is really going to help you in this next stage of development. Can I toss her some rope? Ooh, look at that. She even offered to tuck her nose for a step there. Yep, good, we'll release there. Okay, in about a week of this, they'll be marching backwards pretty nicely. But on the first couple days, just take it slow, one step at a time. Make sure all your pieces of the sequence are there. You don't want something else falling apart, okay? The sequence is important. I'm gonna toss her some rope here. Yeah, the nose comes down, the feet go backwards. Okay. Very good. Well, I hope that gives you guys some things to work on. Thanks again for tuning in. If you guys are wanting more information, check out my YouTube channel. It's called The Natural Horseman. You can look up the 5 yields, which are it's the foundation of the communication that we build with our horse. So again, thanks for checking in. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Krista, for running the camera. And we'll see you next week.